What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Wave. Let's go. We're going to jump right into the game one recaps. I know it's been a little bit of a while since we've done these, and obviously, with less games means less to talk about. But game one's in the books, and do we have a lot to talk about? We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. Again, first and foremost, Indiana. Like I said in my prediction video, I said Indiana was slept on very heavily this series. I just felt like the NBA or the basketball community kind of just felt like Indiana was not good enough to beat OKC just because of the way OKC was handling some of the teams out west. And then to be fair, if you matched Indiana up against maybe not the Pacers, Indiana versus Memphis or Minnesota, they probably would have. They could have, they could probably take those teams on. I guess it's just the fact that OKC looks so strong and they have 68 wins in the season that threw everybody's head for a loop, and it kind of showed. This game was really just about not closing the games. If we take a look at the turnover battle, Indiana had 24, while Oklahoma City had 6. So we need to figure out how can a team be turning the ball over so much and still win the game. Let's look. They got off almost 15, 16 more less shots than they did. So in terms of shooting the ball, they had they made the same amount of shots, but they got off about 15 more of them. So what happened? Rebounds. Indiana was rebounding their head off 56. Pascal Siakam with 10. Neemsmith with 12. That is insane. Halliburton with 10 himself. Oh my, that's actually important to remember. They were rebounding, and they had them looking a little crazy out there. There were some plays out there that I saw. Oklahoma City's defense, especially in transition, was very piss poor. I was not happy with what I was seeing out there. Just because these are professionals, and we can't be having mistakes like that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the numbers though. Pascal Siakam, he had 19. He's been on a run this whole entire postseason, 19 and 10. You can't ignore that. This guy has been very efficient. Not the most efficient tonight. He shot under 50%, but he still made a contribution where it mattered. Neesmith with 10, but that was a loud 10. He also had 12 rebounds as well. So it's very. Those two guys definitely came to play. What I really enjoy is that, like I said, we've seen it the entire run with Indiana. They always are going to have 3 to 5 guys score double digits. Tonight they had 6. Obi Toppin hit 5 threes. Definitely one of the best games he's had in his postseason career. Halliburton with 14 and 10, 6 assists. It just a masterclass. Not even a masterclass, but in just in the sense efficiency. And just overall, just doing what they got to do. Only Pascal Siakam had a negative plus minus or negative box score plus minus. So from the starters, and obviously Obi Toppin coming off the bench to kind of cancel that out. So it kind of works out. They ran a more limited lineup than I've seen. They'll usually run about maybe the whole team, but tonight they completely just pulled back and just said, nah, we're gonna run 10 guys, and we're gonna feel out this Oklahoma City team, and let's take a look and see how they did. Chet Holmgren, he didn't really play too well. He had 6 points. I need to take a look to see if he had any injuries, because him only playing 24 minutes is actually concerning. Jalen Williams, with 17, he'll get his shots off. 38 from Alexander. But again, I said this about Donovan Mitchell, and now it's going to come around to Shai Gilgeous. I'm not a fan of him taking 30-plus shots. I know he's the main scorer, but I want to see a little bit more of a balanced attack like we see from Indiana. Obviously, when Chet has 15, if Casey Wallace, he had maybe a little bit more, this game would be theirs, no question. The bench definitely didn't. It wasn't subpar, but that 17 from Obi Toppin was just way louder than anything they had going on the bench for Oklahoma City. And this really came down to the last moment of the game. And again, the Indiana Pacers have been on one of the best runs I've seen. Every series, they have at least one game where they have a comeback win. And yeah, let's go ahead and just take a look at some of the film that some of the parts of the game I thought were actually key for Indiana's success. But it's The series is definitely not over. I definitely see Oklahoma City still winning. But I hope that that win from Oklahoma City shakes up everybody. I mean, from Indiana. I hope it shakes up the whole, like, OKC is just the best team. Like, these, like, yes, they can be the best team on paper, and they might be on a run, but everybody's on that timer. Everybody's on a run, and everybody's run is up at some point in time. Do I think Oklahoma City's run is up? To answer that question, I say no. I think Oklahoma City still has enough firepower and depth to beat Indiana. The Indiana hate was just not sitting too well with me. But nonetheless, man, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and jump into the footage. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the footage. Hopefully I'm not in the way. I cannot see my screen. But like I said, hopefully I'm not in the way. You guys can see the score. We're gonna go down to the final 2 minutes of the game just to kind of break down and see like what kind of happened here. Not a timer. I'm sorry. We want playback speed. Yes, and I like to do half speed. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right. We have Nembhard with the pass to Obi Toppin. He fakes it. Siakam looks open, but he's not, and he does a little push off, illegal screen a little bit, but this is the finals. They're not calling that. And you know, Naismith has just been doing what he's been doing all playoffs, knocking threes down and just being a great jump shot, just being a great shooter. Oklahoma City can't capitalize coming back down. So then we have Nembhard. He's trying to size up, you know, dance around, get Shea off balance, and he does. He turns his hips around, hits him with a step back. That's enough space, and Indiana's rolling. Mind you, I don't believe they led at all during this game. I think Oklahoma City was just on a run the whole entire game. And again, back-to-back possessions were defensive breakdowns. Shai Gilgeous is out of position. He expects Dort to come through, and he does. You know, complete verticality. He gets the block, and Shai gets the rebound. And this is Oklahoma City's chance to really say, you know what, let me put this game away. 1 or 2 shots, this game is over. And Shai Gilgeous, he gets to the lane, and he just finishes strong like he's been doing all season. So it's not, you know, it's a 5-point game. It was just 8. Now it's 3. Then it was 5. Now it's back to 3. Oklahoma City, let's see how they do. Shai, obviously with the ball, Nembhard with the screen, but then Wallace hits him with a nice one. Halliburton is helping, but his help is in no man's land. But Siakam then comes to recover, and that block was just insane. So he's giving them life. Obi Toppin, he's been the man. He's just been knocking shots down. Now we have Nembhard. Let's see what we got going on here. He's really just trying to break things down. He just got a shot just a few possessions ago, and he said, yo, I'm really feeling it. And he completely misses. Siakam right where he needs to. He had 10 rebounds. That's one of those key rebounds right there. And he just puts it back in. Now we have, believe Wiggins that's just a tough shot, bad angle. You know, you don't have the space, the foot. It's just not there, which opens the door for what we're about to watch together. So I believe they called out of bounds, but they didn't call foul. All right, so now we have the final 20 seconds of the game. Let's go ahead and watch together. You have Nembhard. He's guarding Shai. You know, he's having a good game. Sliding his feet. You know, he likes to attack downhill, get to that space, which was open. Right there, he almost gets the steal. And, you know, he lets it go. Rebound. Here we go. 9.6. Again, they don't even call timeout. They just said, yo, Halliburton. I love that Halliburton stopped and grabbed the ball. I love that because usually they would just run up and that would just be like, yo, go and make your own shot. Halliburton said, yo, I want the ball. This is my moment. You have Wallace trying to just play like, that's just bad defense. Like, we need to go ahead and look again. Because Wallace, he's overcommitting to going left. He's going left. And I don't know if you see this small subtlety. He's going left. He's going lateral. He then decides to start going backwards. He changes his angle. And because of his angle, if he stayed in that original angle that he was in, if he just stayed, he's like this. See how he's lined up with him. If he just kept that angle, but then he turns his hip again. Once he turns his hip again, it's over. Halliburton just needs to just create some space. He just hops, pops, and it's gone. And it's through the basket, through the ring, and they're winning. And that's the game. That's literally how they win the game. On poor execution on both offense and defense. You know, and Indiana, they snuck this win out, and they're on the road. They only need to win a game. They don't care if they not that they don't care if they win. They obviously they care if they win, but you need to take a look. They're in Oklahoma City. They just need to win the game and just take one. They get a lob threat. Miles Turner, the vet, he's been 10 years. He's been like, I remember when he got drafted to Indiana. He's been a presence. It's good to see him in this position, and he deflects it to get the game-winning stop. And that again, I love that this happened because this is what the media, social media, the media, Vegas, the sports bettors, the people who talk about basketball. This is what they don't talk about. They don't talk about the fact that Indiana going into this was the most slept-on team in the postseason. In the postseason, they were not favored against Milwaukee. They weren't favored against the Cavaliers. And who'd they play going in? They weren't favored against the Knicks, and they have come and showed everybody out. And that's what basketball is all about. Basketball is about, beating the odds. And you can have as much talent on your team as you want, but if you're not executing and everybody's kind of bullshitting, that this is the story of this is what you'll get. And I'm going to end that rant there because I think we kind of finally get the point. Oklahoma City, their backs are against the wall now. Their whole, what's the word? Home court advantage is gone. And now Indiana's in the driver's seat. And I really, really do like what I'm seeing from Indiana. That team is going to have a lot of good years to come if they just, with good health, stay in the course and, with discipline and stuff like that. And Oklahoma City, we all knew about them. And that's why I guess I'm so angry is because we already know the story of Shea and James Harden and the fucking the Paul George trade. We that's been talked about so much that it's just good to see like Halliburton. He went from underrated to just cooking the best player in the league. So, I think he deserves a lot more respect on his basketball name. I don't care about what he does outside the court. I'm only talking about on the court. Like in terms of basketball, he's the goods. And like I said, man, I'm really happy that we were able to cover Game 1. And like I said, I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace out, ciao. Game 2 is Sunday. I'll see you then. Peace out.